Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Amsterdam Film Show for November 2019. My name is Kiko Mora, and I'm joined here, as always, by my co-host, Kathy Lung. How are you?
Hello, very good, thank you. Sunny day, it's great.
Yeah. It's still really cold, but I'm into it. So, at the Amsterdam Film Show, we share new cinema releases in the Netherlands, film reviews, and special film events in the city of Amsterdam, always in English. Our reviews for this week include Doctor Sleep, which you went to see.
Doc.
Oh my God! I didn't go. Yeah. I mean, I'm the horror nut here, but I did go to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show at Q Factory with my wife. We're also gonna discuss the IDFA Doc Festival. This amazing documentary festival happening all over the city. Our favorite documentaries are like your personal choice and mine. And we're getting another biopic coming our way. Judy Garland. Yeah, Renee Zellweger. So, I mean, let's start. What's your favorite biopic?
Oh, good question. I was racking my brains. The first one that came to my mind, which no one will ever have heard of, was a biopic of Patsy Cline.
Who is Patsy Cline?
Patsy Cline, she's a country singer in the US, and she did Crazy, I'm Crazy for Love.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I think, for some reason, country music biopics, it must have been something I grew up with.
The Johnny Cash one is amazing.
That's also good.
I think it's funny how we always hear biopic and we link it right away to musicians.
Totally.
Because I was thinking about that question as well. And the movie that came to my head, and I watched it really recently, Stray Outta Compton, which is a biopic about NWA.
Yes.
This rappers from LA is Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and Eazy-E. Yeah. So Eazy-E. So there are these three rappers. They started like the gangster movement in the 90s on the West Coast. As at the same time, Biggie Smalls was on the other side of the country. So but if I have to go to someone that is not a musician,
yes,
Into the
really
Wild.
Hard.
Did you see Into the Wild?
I've got it on the DVD, but only DVD. And then I couldn't get it to work on my DVD player because of the format. So it's sitting there on my shelf because I've heard it's really good.
Definitely check it out. I think I saw on Cineville that it's going to be playing very soon somewhere. Ooh. It's the story of Christopher McCandless, and his pseudonym was Alexander Supertramp.
Yes.
And it's this kid who graduates like an Ivy League school, and then he decides to just like leave everything, every material possession, and just go into the wild, right? Towards Alaska and just live a very, very basic, lonely life. And it's a super interesting film with a heartbreaking ending, but just go for it.
But when you think of a biopic, what in essence is a biopic? Because I would say Into the Wild, I wonder if it's more just about that episode or a part of his life. Should a biopic kind of go from beginning to end, of their lives, or, from nobody to somebody, and then cover their death or their whatever?
Well, it depends, because I think most people as a baby are boring, so I don't think they should cover that part. Yeah. I think it should cover like a meaningful part of their lives, like the biopic of Steve Jobs, the one directed by, not the one with Ashton Kutcher,
no,
but the one directed by
Steve McQueen.
No, I think it was Danny Boyle.
Oh,
I don't know, guys. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But with Michael Fassbender playing Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And it's only set in the minutes before 4 big presentations in his life.
Ooh.
And it's the conversations he had before each presentation of each Apple product. So that's a really interesting approach.
Yes. Episodic.
Whereas The Social Network just took it from when he created Facebook to just before, which is where we were back then. I think they did a sequel. It would be more of a Lex Luthor origin story now.
Yeah, and the thing about these biopics, especially with the movies, like the musicians, is they're always taking them at the end of their lives or when they're beginning to fade out. And obviously that's the dramatic point, that it's not all, it's the ups and downs and stuff.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit more about it later when we talk about Judy. We're broadcasting this live as a radio show with soundtrack music mixed in. You can find the full show on Mixcloud on demand, but we also share a talk-only podcast version if you're not into music.
We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah, that's really
follow,
cool.
Subscribe,
And the Broadcast Amsterdam YouTube channel if you're into that. The Amsterdam Film Show also has show notes. So we have like a sort of a transcript of what we talk about today for every episode in our website. And many things more. We're going to talk now about movies that are still in the cinemas. The latest thing that I've seen that is still in the cinema is Terminator Dark Fate. Yeah.
The reboot. Well, obviously it's got Arnie Schwarzenegger in.
It's
but
not
also Linda
technically
Hamilton.
a reboot. They're trying to do like a reboot.
Yeah.
But following the canon from Terminator 2, I think they kind of ignore the rest of the other movies. Yes. So this is directly linked to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which
chronologically.
is my favorite. Yeah. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Better even I think it's better than the first Terminator. It's one of those rare things where the
first one is
better.
Kind of boring, actually.
Yes. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Completely unnecessary movie. Again, I don't know why I keep watching these movies, but every new Terminator film brags that they have Schwarzenegger back. But he's been back for like 3 movies.
Yes.
So it's not like a talking point anymore.
No.
And this tells the story about a Mexican girl. It starts set in Mexico City, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes here in the studio.
Yes.
Because it's clearly not Mexico City because they drive 5 minutes and they're in the desert.
Yeah.
So this is clearly Tijuana. I don't know why they just didn't say, okay, this is Tijuana, period. But it's so clearly not Mexico City. As a Mexico City native myself, I found it a little bit offensive.
Yeah.
Or just ignorant. And it's this Mexican girl and her brother who work in this like car company. Right. And for some reason, she's someone, well, there's a Terminator from the future that is coming to kill her because she's going to be the leader of the resistance. And the same Terminator lore that we've had in every single movie. But
we've
now,
never heard of her before. Suddenly there's a new leader of the resistance because it was John Connor.
It was John Connor. But at the beginning of the movie, they shoot John Connor. But like kid John Connor.
Oh no! The one played by Edward Furlong.
Yeah. Actually, they digitalized Edward Furlong, and he's there. And also, Linda Hamilton was de-aged for the first sequence. Oh. And okay, sorry, spoiler alert. Yes. But don't watch this movie; it's pretty crap. Yeah. So I'm just gonna talk spoilers. So he dies, and he's killed by young Schwarzenegger. And
oh my goodness!
Yeah. So you just kind of skip all the Terminator movies that have happened until now.
So they basically killed off the old cast, and they're saying basically there's a new resistance hero, this young girl.
But Linda Hamilton survives Sarah Connor.
Okay.
And she appears like towards the middle of the movie being like a super badass older woman.
I think that looks strong from the trailer.
Yeah. But now it's this girl, and she has this half human, half cyborg protector. So now it's part human, the one who's protecting her from the new Terminator, and
that's
it's played
not
by
Arnie.
What?
That's not Arnie then. The half human, half cyborg.
No. That's like the new twist.
One. Okay.
It's who is it? Mackenzie Davis.
All right.
She's an awesome actress that I've been really into lately. Everything she does is super fun. Yeah. And she's a badass in this movie. She's like the best part of the movie because she really kicks ass.
Yeah.
But some of the storylines and the decisions of the characters, I don't know. I think I'm getting way too into this. I just want to point out that some of the characters were clearly cut out. Like the participation in the story were bigger. Yeah. Because sometimes it doesn't make sense. And they were like the brother was kind of like a part of the press conferences but he dies like within 5 minutes. So I'm sensing that he had a bigger part, but to give this girl more importance, they killed him off like right from the beginning to mislead any.
Right.
I don't know. It's not great. Just watch Judgment Day again. Like, please, Cineville, like just. Ask the cinemas to play it again. Lab 100 Alpha, you're listening. Please, please play it again.
For our audience who might be thinking, like you, I want to go and see this new Terminator film, are you telling them not to?
Yeah, totally. Don't go.
That's a big one.
Or go and waste your money because it's not on Cineville, so I had to go to Pathé and spend money on it.
Yes. Actual money.
Podcast Amsterdam.
Anyway, we're going to talk now about new cinema releases. And with that, we have a review of Dr. Sleep by Kathy. What did you think of this movie?
Well, for background, you should know, listeners, that I'm not a big horror buff. I tend to steer away from it in general. But for this one, I had to, because this is basically a follow-up to The Shining. Everyone's heard of The Shining, whether you're into horror or not. I thought I only had to really do my duty and watch The Shining, because I hadn't yet watched it either.
Oh my God, but you did watch it beforehand,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah. The night before I saw the presser, I saw The Shining. So that's important for you. I think having seen the film, it really does help if you have seen The Shining. So try to do that if you're thinking of going to see Dr. Sleep. I have to start there. Obviously, a Stephen King book, The Shining, brilliant classic, beautiful cinematography.
Although Stephen King hates that movie. He said that it was
jealous.
He said that it was such a poor representation of his work.
Oh.
But he said that Dr. Sleep, this new movie, kind of reivindicates Kubrick's film for him.
For him. Interesting. I don't know, because they're so different, these two movies. Because I would say, having seen The Shining, you can see immediately it's a classic. I wouldn't have said it's as strong as everyone says, it's not as his reputation, but it's definitely a classic.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of build up after so many years, but in the 70s it was terrifying.
Yeah, and it's great.
Not that I was there, but
great music, great acting. I would definitely watch it again.
Oh yeah, beautiful. There's a see if you can find it. There's a second ending, and there are some not ending, but there are some sequences that Kubrick left out of the editing room.
So now, quite some years later, and obviously Stephen King has now written a kind of serial and a follow-up to The Shining, Dr. Sleep. So this is based on his new novel. So not rewritten by the screenwriter, still following the author. It's not a classic. You can immediately see Dr. Sleep is not a classic. So basically it's following the young Danny. The young Danny escapes at the end of The Shining with his mother.
All right.
So now Dr. Sleep sees him as a grown-up. In fact, no, because there's a beginning bit of the film with a young Danny and his mother played by completely different actors.
Oh, God.
And that's weird. Yeah, it really is weird because those original actors were so strong. So, yeah, I don't know why they did that, really.
All right. How spoiler heavy are you going to get into?
I don't think I will.
Okay, good, because I really want to watch this.
No, I know you're going to see it. So basically, you've got a little bit of young Danny and his mother kind of basically getting over their survival.
So it doesn't even look like Shelley Duvall?
No. A little. It's just little things like, she's got slightly goofy teeth or something, but, it's not. You can see they've made an effort, but it just doesn't feel right. But, I mean, obviously they've got to, I don't know if the book says, I feel like they could have missed that bit out because it has that with them, but it soon jumps to Danny as an adult. So Danny has survived this. He's got this gift of kind of premonition or psychic abilities, and he's always going to struggle with that. And he goes into adulthood. He's got problems. He's an alcoholic. He's like really messed up. He goes to a new town. But this is the thing about Dr. Sleep. It's not just about Danny. In The Shining, it was very, very small and intimate. You just had a really tiny, tiny cast of characters. Whereas Dr. Sleep is hugely different. You've got Danny the adult. You've got Danny the child who's just survived. Now you've also got a whole load more characters. You've got Rose the Hat and all her gang. Her gang are called the True Knot, and they're all a bit weird and a bit freaky and all from all sorts of places.
And all these people shine as well?
Yeah, kind of. All they're after the shine. They're in that world. It's kind of supernaturally. That's it. The Shine itself was a very small, insular thing at the Overlook Hotel in The Shining, and now...
I like how contained it is, like the mystery from it, from The Shining.
Yeah, exactly. And that was so focused and concentrated, whereas now in Dr. Sleep, the whole Shining thing and the people with the talent or the people with the special gifts, there's loads of them.
Yeah.
So, there's also, they come across a young girl immediately, then there's another young girl who's kind of like going off doing her own thing, and then a young baseball player and stuff. And then you've got all the people that Danny meets in the new town as well. They begin, one person in particular who becomes his new friend and crutch and stuff. there are all these characters introduced, and that's so different from The Shining.
Oh yeah. When you provide like too much context to this mystery world or this mystery ability, I think it loses some of its charm. Yeah. I am gonna watch it. It's directed by Mike Flanagan, who has already directed a Stephen King adaptation, Gerald's Game.
Okay.
Did you see that?
No.
About the woman who's having like a kinky weekend with her husband.
Yeah.
So she gets handcuffed to the bed, and he dies of a heart attack. So she's kind of like stuck in a really uncomfortable position.
Yes.
And she's in the middle of the forest with nobody around.
Ooh.
So it turns into a survival movie.
Okay.
It's a really good movie. And he also directed the Haunting of Hill House, this Netflix series that it's also super terrifying. So Mike Flanagan, he's one of the best guys doing horror right now.
I'd imagine Stephen King had a bit of a veto over who directed it anyway, I expect.
Right. Yeah. At this point, I think as long as you appreciate the work, I think he's open for any kind of adaptation.
Yes.
All right, so that's Doctor Sleep.
Yes.
Okay, out with the creepy music. Because now, also from that opens when?
Oh, it's already open in cinemas.
No, yesterday,
so you can
November
totally
7th.
See it.
Yeah.
It's quite long. It's like 2.5 hours. 15, of course. But I think if you're into things like the TV series about vampires and stuff, with big cast of characters, then go for it. But it's more of a TV series style, not so intense as something like The Shining, I think. Not so artistic. Very domesticated, I would say.
All right. So, Okay. Yeah, I totally get you. Yeah. Okay, so from that opened yesterday, November 7th, and also from yesterday, it's a little bit early, I think, but then the first Christmas movie is upon us. Last Christmas, directed by Paul Feig, who made Bridesmaids and the horrible Ghostbusters.
You don't like them. I thought the new Ghostbusters with the female cast was really funny. And I think Bridesmaids was a phenomenal hit. Oh, good. You don't really like it.
I don't know. It's one of my unpopular opinions. But this sitting on the cake kind of humor really bothers me.
You don't like the toilet humor?
No. Sometimes. It depends. Because when it comes from someone like Seth Rogen...
Okay. It's okay for men, but not for women, Kiko? Is that what you're saying?
No. Booksmart.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Booksmart is a great film, and it's also empowering, no?
Right. Okay.
And also there was this one from Bo Burnham, 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade. Right. 9th grade, I don't know, 8th grade, and it's also really cool.
Yes, 8th grade, yeah.
8th grade, yeah. But Booksmart.
Yeah.
Anyway, Last Christmas from Paul Feig. It has Emilia Clarke, Khaleesi.
Yes.
Henry Golding, Emma Thompson, who I love.
And she's one of the writers, along with her husband, Greg Wise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, then, I don't know. Do you like Christmas movies?
I do quite. I don't like Love Actually much.
What? No, come on. That's it. I love
You
Love Actually.
surprise me, Kiko.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed. Oh,
Yeah. Well, have you seen there's like a Dutch version of Love Actually? It's called Alice's Liefde.
Yeah.
And there's like Alice's Liefde. It's such.
I quite like that as well.
Well, I kind of like the movie. Although there's a Black Pete, Zwarte Piet depiction in the movie. Yeah.
Oh,
traditions.
Yes, traditions. I mean, it's Christmas. We're allowed to be kitsch and stuff.
It is not though. It's just barely Halloween. Give us another week.
That's true. It's early November, and already Last Christmas is out in the cinemas, and it's quite a short, easy to watch film. Comedy is so welcome.
On the 13th of November, so next week. Today is the 8th. Brittany runs a marathon. I know nothing about this movie. What can you tell me about it?
I didn't, and I wasn't going to cover it, Kiko. I really wasn't. But then, I was learning through, and I saw it had really good reviews. So I thought, well, I wasn't even going to watch the trailer, which is a mistake. Because you should always give them a try out at least and watch the trailer. It's had quite good reviews. I don't think it's trying to do anything too clever. Again, it's a 1 hour, 45-minute comedy. A young woman, overweight, she decides to make some positive changes in her life by training for the New York City Marathon. This is according to IMDb. And I think it's kind of like it's just charming, really. She's just
Yeah?
yeah.
All right.
In some ways, a little bit like The Last Christmas, but more real. Like a girl whose life is pretty shitty to her, I think, and she just wants to do something about it and change
I think that was the charm of Bridget Jones.
Yeah.
I think Renee Zellweger, she was like the everyday girl. She was like a real person at least in the first movie. I'm a fan of Bridget Jones.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Brittany Runs a Marathon is that there's the names you won't really. I've never heard of Gillian Bell, Jennifer Dundas, the director Paul Downs Colliazzo.
Jennifer Dundas does ring a bell.
Ah, right. So but those not big name films can often be those sleeper hits and just actually good.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So sometimes you trust more of a holiday film if it's more indie.
Yeah.
It's gonna have something more to say instead of just selling tickets.
And if you're going to the movies, there are not that many comedies, I would say. So you've got a choice between Last Christmas or Brittany Runs a Marathon, maybe. I don't know.
And this next film is a mix from digital and physical. Well, and the theatrical release, it's The Irishman from Martin Scorsese. That opens on the 14th.
Yes.
For one, I'm super excited about it. Cinematographer is Rodrigo Prieto, Mexican.
Ooh, good one. Do you know, Kiko? So there's several things that alarm me about this film. Well, anyway, it's released, limited release in the Netherlands, but it's going to be on Netflix on the 27th of November. I should really support local cinemas, but if you have Netflix, then you can save yourself some money. Wait till the 27th; it's going to be on your TV.
But like the experience of watching it on a big screen, like it's not the same to watch Interstellar at your home than at a pretty badass screen, right?
And if there is a good cinematographer, but the big but is it's 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, that's not really a problem to me.
Are they going to have a toilet break and stuff like that? Because if you watch it in your home, you can stop and start, get yourself something to eat. 3.5 hours at the cinema.
Okay, well, I only have one issue with long movies because I love long movies. I will sit through the Potemkin... I forgot the name in English. I only know it in Spanish. El Acorazado Potemkin.
Great. Sounds better like that.
And the Russian arc that are like over 4 hours
Dr.
long.
Zhivago? No.
No, the Russian arc.
Oh, the Russian arc. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but these movies, like 2001: Space Odyssey, used to have a break in the middle, so you can go pee.
Yeah, maybe they've got.
So
that.
that's my only problem with long movies. When I went to see Avengers: Endgame, which was like almost 4 hours as well. I really had to go to the bathroom at some point and I missed like a cool battle or something.
Some Dutch movies do have an intermission. I haven't seen any in Amsterdam that have one. Maybe for this extra long film they might. But definitely when I've been to see the films in Leiden, in the Trianon cinema, they've had a break. Even with normal length films, they have a screen intermission.
On a normal length, it can be annoying because it takes me out of the film.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Anyway,
but that's The Irishman. I've seen the trailer, and do you know what? All I can remember from the trailer is something about a ring. You wear this special ring, and you're in the gang or something.
It's because it's about Jimmy Hoffa and his murder or something like that. I don't know. I have to check that out. And that's going to be a limited cinema release. It's going to be here in Amsterdam. I think it's going to be at Outkijk. I don't know if it's going to be at the Eye. I would hope so.
Podcast Amsterdam.
Anyway, let's talk biopics.
Oh, yeah. So there's a big one this month coming out. Judy, starring Renee Zellweger and many others, about Judy Garland.
Judy Garland, who she's she's Dorothy, right?
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Right.
And,
Hold on. Let's invite. Who's playing?
Renee Zellweger.
Okay, let's invite her over a little bit. She sings great, right? I remember she was in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
She does a good job.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of done with biopics.
Yes. Yeah, Freddie Mercury.
Oh, there she is.
Who else? Yeah.
She has a great voice, right?
And that's really hard when you're trying to emulate someone who's got a pretty damn good voice. Not anyone can do it.
Yeah, Taron Egerton did it for the
Rocketman. Yeah,
Rocketman. Yeah,
Elton
and
John.
he sings beautifully, I think. Let's leave her in the background and let's keep talking about it. So Judy Garland, child actor and kind of like teen actor, and then writer, actress, legendary performer.
became probably addicted to certain medications or
Was she?
pills. Yeah, I mean that's what you get from the trailer.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, what came across from that as well is that family were really important to her, and why she kept working hard at it. You've got other people, not in a biopic, but you hear the stories, don't you, about the pressure of the fame and keeping going and stuff, and then they're driven to touring, and then the touring takes them away from their families. So there's a lot of emotional, content to work with there, isn't there?
Usually these idols have like really tragic lives. They always have like the abusive manager who doesn't give a shit about their well-being and stuff. But I don't know, like, I don't know how well this movie comes right now, because aren't we falling into another repeated cycle of biopics?
Yes. And you're right, and always singers. I think as far as female singers go, the gold standard of the biopics came many years ago. Well,
Selena.
I don't know. I would say Selena. I would say the Edith Piaf one. With
that
Marion
one,
Cotillard.
La Vie en Rose.
Yes.
That was a beautiful movie.
Really into it. It wasn't too rosy. She gave a warts and all performance, basically. Didn't she?
But she was
Marion Cotillard.
always playback. But she did so well in the movie, I remember.
Yeah. I think even still certain films like this, I wonder whether it's because Marion Cotillard wasn't that well known when she did Edith Piaf. And
At least not outside of France.
no, and these biopics, you tend to see the people, like you still see Renée Zellweger. You don't see Judy Garland, do you? It's very hard to put that away.
Silly, but going back to the Selena biopic, that's when Jennifer Lopez was almost a nobody. So that like you really buy the performance. But but in other cases, like for example Ray Charles.
Oh yeah.
Jamie Foxx was already really big, but he disappeared into the character. I remember Ray Charles. I think it's one of the great biopics for me.
Yeah.
That and the Johnny Cash one.
I think the Johnny Cash one with Joaquin Phoenix was also one of the best strong ones recently. And it's a tricky one. I'm also wondering what will be the future biopics. What's coming next?
I don't know, man. I'm done because lately,
they're gonna do
it. Guys, it's time to tell this. But Bohemian Rhapsody sucked. It was bad, man. It was so bad. Like I grew up with Queen. It's my dad's favorite band. I grew up so my fan goggles.
Yes.
Like I went to cinema twice.
Yeah.
Because like my only argument to defend this movie is like, but the music is awesome.
Yeah.
But the music is awesome, but just play it at home and don't watch this fucking movie. Yeah.
What new thing did you have to do to have good music in this movie? The music's already fucking written.
Exactly, and this guy's not even singing, and he has like these gigantic prosthetic teeth. That he's not a bad actor, Rami Malek. I think he does a good job, but it's almost caricaturesque.
Yes. So you're done with the music biopics for sure.
I'm kind of done. Yeah, it's what we were saying earlier. Like, there's more than that. There's like Malcolm X, Frost versus Nixon.
Yeah. Why not celebrate the life of a teacher or a writer or or something?
I mean, there are many like that. There was recently J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh yes,
the Tolkien film that it was apparently terrible.
Yes. Yeah, totally. And there's, ordinary people have amazing dramatic lives. I think they maybe deserve something more than these kind of musicians. I do think probably we're on the verge of seeing a George Michael biopic being made. I know it's maybe too soon after his sad death.
That would be fun.
But, they love it because, they're going to sell loads of music and stuff like that. All the people who own those rights and stuff.
Especially when they're still alive. Like, no, I think it's better when they're already dead, maybe. I think it adds to the icon because love is such a hard word. I really, really enjoyed Rocket Man.
Okay.
But in the end, it says like Elton John is still alive and really healthy.
That's so funny. It's kind of laughing at itself, isn't it? I suppose. Oh, I tell you what.
Oh, he was involved with it, and he chose Taron Egerton personally to play him.
I tell you what was really difficult to watch, but I do think it was quite powerful, but in a very creepy, disturbing way, was Beyond the Candelabra, which was the biopic of Liberace.
Oh,
with Matt Damon.
Oh, Matt Damon.
And Michael Douglas. Douglas.
They both play Liberace in different...
No. Michael Douglas was Liberace, and Matt Damon played like his chauffeur, but then he became his boyfriend.
Oh.
But Liberace made him do loads of plastic surgery to look more like Liberace, so that he looked more like his boyfriend, looked more like himself.
Oh, that's an epic masturbation right there.
Oh, it was just, but it was a very good, but very disturbing, and I think that's the kind of thing, it wasn't reverential at all. I think some of these biopics are, well, I don't know. And they always pick the same storyline, about this, the end of the career and blah, blah, blah. But
lived in like a rural town of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he was gifted with a piano. And then, oh my God, he said, I don't know, And the father is always abusive and the mother is...
It's so prescriptive. Let's have something different.
Like, it can be that all these people had the same life. Because I know for a fact that the one on Freddie Mercury is quite superficial.
Yeah.
Because I know that before he died, well, at some point in his life, he was a really private person, and he really didn't want any biographies made of him or anything. So I know that the Bohemian Rhapsody movie doesn't go in that deep. Which kind of sucks, but it's always like it has to be respectful from from his bandmates if he was such a private person.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like biopics, man.
Yeah, Judy's out there. If you like the music, that kind of music, go for it. There's a lot of that old jazzy style stuff, so it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's out there.
Oh, you know which one I like? The Disaster Artist. It's about Tommy Wiseau, the guy who made The Room. I mean, it's kind of a biopic, because it's about...
know. Again, it's like, that's an episode of his life, but I wouldn't call it a biopic.
It's biographical.
Yeah,
it's for sure biographical.
It's biographical.
And
biographical.
I thought that was a really interesting movie. Like, check it out. If you don't know what The Room is, Google it. It's not the movie with Brie Larson. No. It's considered the worst movie in the world. And there's a biopic about it, so go check it out. Anyway, but moving on, I really want to talk about the documentary festival that is coming up.
The IDFA from the 20th of November to the 1st of December, which is a little bit of a way away, but tickets for the IDFA festival get sold out quite quickly.
Yeah. Check out the website and buy your tickets with anticipation because there's a bunch of really cool documentaries.
This city loves documentaries. They are very much into it, Amsterdam. They've been here for many years, this festival, and it's got built up a very good reputation.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. What are your picks from the festival?
Well, my pick is Margaret Atwood. A word after word after word is power. Ooh. This is a portrait of the life of this Canadian writer, who I just learned that she lived in Berlin in the 80s, and she wrote The Handmaid's Tale, surrounded by the walls of West Berlin. This was in 1984, which I think it's super cool. Yes. It's so cool, because have you seen the show or have you read the book?
No, I haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale. I've read quite a lot about it, and I haven't read the book.
It's a super dystopian. Yeah, it's amazing. And it makes complete sense that she wrote it in Berlin. In West Berlin in the 80s.
It's all becoming clear.
Yeah.
So
this is a documentary, a biopic, but this is a documentary biopic about Margaret Atwood. What is your pick?
I've picked from the program, The Apollo, which when you search for it on the internet, it comes back with Apollo 11 all the time, obviously the fictional film. This is the documentary, The Apollo. It's about the history of New York City's Apollo Theatre in Harlem, and it's directed by Roger Ross Williams, who has won awards for his documentaries. He's very good. He's done a documentary on Savannah Beat, actually, that he filmed here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, and he's done some really good documentaries I've seen, but this is his newest, and it's you've got all sorts of musical artists. I think they're also in the same way with music biopics. There's a lot of music documentaries out there. We've just had Aretha, we have many others, but this is a great director. It's not just a lazy choice of let's do a documentary with lots of good music in it.
All right.
It's got social value because I think this critic puts this quite well, Steve Pond from The Wrap. He says it's a meditation of African American identity as manifested in a 16,000 seat theatre on 125th Street in Harlem, and a sometimes lyrical, often angry portrait of what happened inside those walls and what it meant.
All right. I'm probably going to watch that again. Watch Never mind.
Not again. It's out for the first
exactly.
time.
I'm saying I'm gonna look out for it.
Yes.
Sorry, English is not my first language. Anyway, what's your favorite documentary, Kathy?
I'm very clear on this. I can immediately say it's Blackfish.
Oh my god, yeah, you even sat right up. Yeah, Blackfish.
Totally. I'm just such a. I want to tell everyone about this film.
Oh, it's the one with the orcas?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my god, it's also a heartbreaking movie.
And I'm not even especially big into animal rights or anything like that. It's not like a bias of mine. It just was so powerful. And I think as an example of what a documentary can do, it's really good. It basically, so what it covers, it's a dig down into the keeping of killer whales, orcas in captivity, specifically the story of one killer whale called Tilikum. It was a performing killer whale that killed several people while in captivity.
Well, it's in the name, right?
Yeah, Blackfish. And the reasons why
killer
I think,
whale, but yeah.
The reasons why I think it's good is that it's really eye-opening, so it shocks you with all the things that it tells you about, the factual things. It's moving, it's emotionally engaging. The people it interviews, they have great access to all the key players.
Okay.
And also, some of those people were trainers, so they were kind of like implicit or whatever. Like
from both sides of the spectrum. Yeah,
not so much of like the owners or anything of that, of the parks, of the animal parks, but certainly with the trainers who kind of said, well, in retrospect, I can see what we were doing was wrong and stuff. But they were really good because a lot of those trainers could have said, no, we're not participating in your documentary, but they agreed and they were really honest and and it was emotional for them as well because they could see we didn't know about this and we didn't know about that. And they weren't making excuses for themselves either. They kind of looked like they took responsibility. There's great use of archive footage in it. And it really did feel like it went on a journey, like a beginning, middle and an end. The story was satisfying.
All right. Check it out. I think it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah. Blackfish.
Definitely check it out. I don't have a lot of time to get into mine, which is I was torn between two. One is Invisible Children, and the other one is La Vida Loca. La Vida Loca is about the Mar Salvatrucha, like the MS-13, I think. Or no, it's the MS-18 in El Salvador. Oh. It's from a French director, and it follows like 10 subjects around this really dangerous neighborhood in El Salvador. It's powerful. It's really, really great. It's I don't remember the year, but it's fantastic. And Invisible Children is 3 filmmakers who went to Uganda and discovered all the how the militia sequesters children in the middle of the night to force them into fighting. Yeah, it's also really, really tough. But okay, so we're almost out of time. Today it went really fast. I think I overdid it with the Terminator thing.
We're going to be really back again in a couple of weeks. We'll do another.
Yeah, we'll talk about also small screen stuff and Disney Plus. We're going to be talking about Disney Plus because they're premiering their original content on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that.
See you soon.
All right, bye.